do you like this situation? The tying and possible winning runs are in scoring position with 2 out and Jack Clark coming up.
It all began in Game 1 when a local boy from Fort Hueneme in Southern California seemed very much ill at ease, and the Dodgers won 4-1. In Game 2, Joaquin Andujar lost the ball, lost his cool, and lost the game. And the Dodgers headed to St. Louis, leading 2-0. In Game 3, the magic returned in St. Louis for Terry Fenelon, making a brilliant play in the Dodger bullpen and an even better play to save Game 3 for St. Louis. In Game 4, Jerry Royce was all thumbs. He couldn't come up with the ball. He couldn't come up with his first league championship win, and the Cardinals came up 12-2. And that's driven to deep right field. Gone. And that was Game 5, and the Cardinals lead 3-2, and this is how they feel as they come to Game 6. NBC Sports presents the 1985 National League Championship Series. Today from Dodger Stadium, the St. Louis Cardinals versus the Los Angeles Dodgers. Brought to you by Miller Beer. Miller made the American way since 1855. By Ford and your local Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Ralston Purina Company, makers of Purina Pet Foods and other fine products from Checkerboard Square. And by IBM and the growing family of IBM personal computers. High noon in Los Angeles on a beautiful summer's day for Game 6 of the National League Championship Series between the St. Louis Cardinals, winners of 3, and the Los Angeles Dodgers, winners of 2. Hi, everybody. I'm Vin Scully. Along with Joe Garagiola, there's a string now of 13 straight home victories in the National League Championship Series. Orel Hershiser hasn't lost here 12 straight. Is there such a thing as a law of averages?
Well, I would think that there is because statistics say there is, but I don't think ball players believe it that much because you still have to play the game. That's the important thing, and it comes down to today.
Joaquin Andujar has not pitched well, since he won his 20th game. If you were Tommy Lasorda before the ball game, would you get on his case? Would you try and make him blow whatever cool he might have?
Absolutely. I'd pick out guys who I knew were at pretty good needles, and I would try to bench jockey him. I would have guys trying to bunt. I would have guys scrutinize every move he made. Like I'd play off the line one tough Dominican. I'd remind him of the year he had. I would do everything. And it's up to Andujar to be in such control. He says, hey, I know they're going to do that. I'm going to pitch my game and not let anything bother me.
What about Orel Hershiser? Do you think the Cardinals would do anything differently? He was in trouble in the outset. Definitely looked like he was a victim of some pressure his first time out, but he got off the hook.
Well, he was a victim of the hype. He didn't pitch within himself, and he said it, and he knew it, and I think it'll be different today for him.
I think the mental part is going to play a big part in today's ball game. We'll check the starting lineups and have a lot more, all coming up right after this.
The following message furnished by Major League Baseball.
Set your sights on the best in baseball. Order the 1985 World Series program. It's chock full of facts with World Series rosters and history, and more than 100 pages of articles and photographs, making the World Series program a collector's item, and it's the same one sold at the ballpark. Send $6 check or money order to World Series Program, Box 8585, Trenton, New Jersey, 08650. That's Box 8585, Trenton, New Jersey.
This scene occurred just a couple of minutes ago, and it is rather unusual. As you can see, the Dodgers were introduced individually along with the starting team on the third base foul line. Whitey Herzog opted and refused to have his Cardinals introduced. The quote, which we have received about third hand, is that Whitey felt one introduction is enough, and since they had been introduced here back in Game 1, he didn't see any reason for them to stand out there for Game 6. So it is a lopsided scene, but it also picks up the thread of what we were talking about at the start, Joe. The fact that the mental part will probably play as big a part of this game as in any game played in quite a while.
I think there's some gamesmanship going on, and I heard that Whitey didn't want him out to the Cardinals because he didn't want them to get booed and the Dodgers to get cheered.
Well, here's the Cardinals who will play, and their sensibilities and sensitivities have been protected by their manager. Willie McGee in center field, Ozzie Smith, yesterday's hero, at short, Tommy Herr at second, and Jack Clark in the cleanup spot at first. Andy Van Slyke in right, Terry Pendleton at third, Darrell Porter behind the plate. Tito Landrum is in left field, and Joaquin Andujar will be the pitcher. One other question, of course, it is called the League Championship Series. I would assume that the league president, Chub Feeney, should have called the shots, and in a sense, Herzog's refusal kind of undercuts the league presidency.
Well, there's all kinds of talk. I also said that Whitey would not allow cameras if he won into the locker room, and they said, well, you can't stop that from happening. You saw the defense, but the key on the Dodger defense settles with that man right there, Hershiser. He's got a quick curve. He tries to change speeds more. He runs his fastball up and in. He throws cross seams to get it up and in. If he gets too fine before he has to and gets behind the hitter, he's going to be in trouble, but he's just got good stuff.
All three of his losses came on the road in a one-month span. June 8th in Atlanta, June 26th at San Diego, and his last loss, July 7th at St. Louis, 7-1. So Orel Hershiser against the Cardinals, and here's something he must contend with. The Cardinals have scored 15 runs in this series in the first 2 innings. The Dodgers have not scored in the first 2 innings. 4-1. One other very important note the history books tell us, never in a best-of-7 has there ever been a World Series where the home team won all 7 games. And if you remember, the Dodgers won the first 2 games here. The Cardinals won the next 3 in St. Louis. And what the Dodgers are trying to do is break history and establish a precedent. And it's 2-1.
Might just add that the infield here is not as smooth, obviously, as that artificial surface in St. Louis. It's not as fast. A bit bumpy. It's chewed up a little bit. And the infielders will have to watch that ball a little more closely and watch it really go into that glove. You can't take your eye off for a minute.
2-1, and it's a ground ball to the left of Duncan. Big hop. He staggers, but gets him anyway. And the Dodgers have certainly done a magnificent job in shutting down the league's leading hitter. Willie McGee was hitting only 190 as he grounds out, so he'll give up some more points. 1 away, and here is the Wizard of Oz. Ozzie with that remarkable home run yesterday. Shocking, I would think, everybody in the baseball world. It should be pointed out, only Smith and Herr have hit in every game in the League Championship Series. They've each hit in all 5. And he hits Hershiser very well. 6 for 14. 4-1.
Whitey had that great quote. They said, what were you hoping? When Ozzie went up, he said, I would hope he'd hit one out. He said, well, how long you been hoping that? He said, about 7 years.
This is for his family. If we get his name up there with some of the big left-hand knockers the game has ever seen.
Well, Lasorda had a good point. He said a little guy. He said little guy. He said Mel Out was a little guy. He hit 511. Joe Morgan was a little guy. He hit a ton of them. Size doesn't mean that much when you've got power, but of course he's not known for power, Smith.
The bunt up along third. Hershiser can't barehand it. I think he would have had enough time to field the ball with his glove, but he opted to barehand and couldn't do it, and it's going to go as a bunt single.
You can really, excuse me, Ben, you can really deaden the ball here as opposed to, you see the delivery, the ball really is dead right here. It doesn't come up, and he could have gotten it with the glove. I think either way, too late. Smith had a base hit all the way.
So Ozzie Smith standing at first, and Hershiser trying to keep the Cardinals away from home plate. By the way, we talked about the Cardinals scoring 15 runs in the first 2 innings. In those games in which they scored, they're 3-0. Ozzie has stolen 31 bases during the regular season. Here's Tommy Herr. He's hit in 5 straight. 4-1. Tommy Herr having a big championship series against Hershiser. He's hitting 286. Madlock shortened up at third. Missed the corner. Ball 2. The plate umpire is Jerry Crawford. Dick Stello at first. Bruce Fremming at second. John McSherry at third. You have Paul Runge on the line in right, and Terry Tata on the line at left.
Here's a good shot of why the catcher is screened. When Herr gets in his position and Mike gets down, you'll see that he really cannot see that runner. That's great camera work, guys. That really shows it.
2 balls and 1 strike. 1 out, first inning would just start. Almost had too much daylight. He was leaning, but it was not a good throw to first. And again, as we have mentioned several times, that's the luxury of having a left-handed first baseman as opposed to a right-hander. The glove is right at the runner. Greg Brock has a left foot that is half on the foul line and half in foul ground. At least his heel is in foul territory. Nothing said about it. Ozzie's not going. Ground ball to Sachs. He boots it, but they get a force on what's a perfect double play. So there it is. It'll never appear as an error, but it can be a monstrous kick.
He just booted the ball. Luckily, it stayed in front of him, and he was able to get the force, but lost a double play, which would have ended the inning.
He's very lucky that they did not have a play on where Ozzie Smith was going 2 balls and 1 strike, or you have 2 on and 1 out. So the Dodgers were fortunate that the Cardinals were not running, and the Cardinals are extremely fortunate that Sachs butchered that ground ball. So here's Jack Clark. That's in there.
Sachs, look where Sachs is, almost directly behind the bag. They play him, they punch him up the middle, out of room between first and second.
The outfield deep. Landro shaded over in the left center. So Tommy Herr at first. Herr during the regular year stole 31 bases. Busted bat. Ground ball to Madlock. The quick way to Sachs, and they get the force. And for the first time in a while, the Cardinals fail to score in the first inning. And at the end of a half, Cardinals nothing. Dodgers coming up. Well, that's a lovely picture of the Cardinal lineup, but of course they've already had their turn at bat. So why don't we see how the Dodgers stack up? And we'll begin with Mariano Duncan leading off at shortstop. And immediately the plate umpire Jerry Crawford going out to talk to Joaquin Andujar. And Crawford now is going over to the Dodger dugout, and it would appear as if he is been called over by Tommy Lasorda.
It's the rosin bag. Andujar picked it up and threw it over to the Dodger dugout, and you have to have the rosin bag over there on the mound. Andujar didn't want it, and he just flung it over there. We've got some gamesmanship going on here. There's no question about it.
So we will be watching the Dodger dugout today while Andujar is pitching, you can bet. Meanwhile, they're bringing, here's the Dodger lineup. Mariano Duncan opening up at shortstop, followed by Kenny Landro in center field, and then Pedro Guerrero in left. Bill Madlock in the cleanup spot at third, and Mike Marshall in right field.
Mike Scioscia behind the plate. Greg Brock is at first. Steve Sachs will be at second. Orel Hershiser, the pitcher. And the bat boy is now bringing a rosin bag out to the mound and has dropped it behind the rubber.
He said we're waiting for something. Crawford did. I don't know. Obviously, they're waiting for something. I don't know what it would be. Duncan is ready. The pitchers are ready. All the players are out there. Lasorda, Dick Stello is over at third base. There you see Stello. I would imagine they're waiting for the groundskeeper to do something. That's the last guy that can be involved here. Stello's going downstairs to look for somebody. It may be that Andujar is not ready for the mound, and he doesn't like the way the mound is. It's too high or too wet or too something. And you can see in front of the mound how wet it is, and I'm sure the groundskeeper will come out, because when you can't blame it on the umpires, you find somebody else, usually the groundskeeper. Now, it's dug out around there, and Andujar may have complained about it. And they fixed it for the hometown guy, Hershiser. He liked it.
I'm also looking for Joe Amalfitano. Manny Mota is standing in the Dodgers first base coaching box, and there's no Amalfitano.
I'd stake it on the groundskeeper is what I'd stake it.
Well, here comes Chris Duca and a member of the crew. So we got something going on.
Oh, they're going to put some sand and pack it in some clay. I guess they thought that they had been fooling around with it. Usually it's in front of home plate that the groundskeepers work, and here they come. And Chris is going to get some national exposure. Millions and $1 million spent, and we're going to watch some guys do a little gardening here. Chris is working in front. The other fellow is working on the landing area. And there you see where he dumped it, because it's the stride that affects the opposing pitcher.
You know, it's amazing. I remember in 1962 when the Dodgers and the Giants were in a bitter pennant race, and the Dodgers had to go and play in Candlestick Park. Walter Olson was the manager of the Dodgers. Alvin Dark was the manager of the Giants, and Maury Wills was the #1 base runner. And the Giants literally flooded the infield to prevent Wills from stealing.
You can see when Andujar lands. Now watch, he just barely gets to that sandy part right there. Now Hershiser, obviously his stride is bigger, and his heel would have dug in at the back end here, and Andujar just barely gets there, and that can really throw you off kilter. The landing area is so important. It's just like down the bullpen. Sometimes clubs, when they jockey around the infield, they would make the bullpen mound a little bit lower, a little bit higher. I guess the best doctors of the infield I ever knew were the Bossert family. Those guys were great, beginning with Mr. Bossert Emil, and then Gene, and now his son over at White Sox. It's all part of it, and I don't say that the Dodgers were playing games here, but if they weren't, they've come awful close.
Well, it was an 8-minute delay. The only other thought, of course, it has been extremely hot in Southern California. You know, of course, of all the raging fires in the area. The Dodgers have been away in St. Louis since Friday. And perhaps in trying to keep the field from burning out, the area's just got too wet. Whatever, we're going to the bottom of the first, and here's Mariano Duncan. A bunt foul, 0-1.
You telling me dirt burns?
Dirt burns. I just meant they turned the water on.
Oh, yeah. I tell you, you know, it's the game. It's the season right here, and you're going to do what you can.
Duncan, as you saw, with only one hit, and he has a little protective brace on his foot. He got that swinging against Andujar. 1-1. Joe Amalfitano in the third base coaching box. There's the protective area to protect that shin bone. 1-1 to Duncan. Now back, 1-2. Mariano, as a left-handed batter, is 0 for 6 in the championship series. So he hadn't done a lick from this side of the plate. 1-2. Line drive down the right field line, base hit, and he is on his way for another 2. They'll hold him at second base.
able to pull it, and with his speed, even with the bad leg, easy two-base hit.
When we were down in the Cardinal dugout and in the dressing room before the game, one of the questions we posed to Whitey Herzog, if Joaquin Andujar got in trouble early, who'd be the big man to come out of that pen right away? And Whitey said it would be the left-hander Ricky Horton. But Whitey is sitting along with Gene Gieselman, and Horton is sitting in the bullpen. And here is Landreau. Landreau doesn't bunt much. He only sacrificed 3 times during the regular year. And against Andujar, he's only hitting 200 lifetime. And he goes the other way, and it's a fly ball to left center. Tagging as the catch by Landrum. And Duncan coming to third. He's in there. And boy, Landrum hit that a long way. Kenny thought it might be a home run, or at least on the wall.
Right up against the warning track, and Duncan, good base running, tagged up immediately, because if it's off the wall, he scores easily. Landrum in left field, watch him get to the warning track. There he is, and it's an easy base for Duncan to pick up.
There's a lot of emotion in the Dodger dugout for a fly ball, but you can understand why. Guerrero has been walked intentionally 4 times in this league championship series. But they're going to pitch to him with a runner at third and 1 out. And he pops it up. Boy, what a big out and a big lift that is for Andujar. So Guerrero, who has been the big man to get the Dodgers here in the first place, is shrinking by the minute as he pops up with a runner at third. And the batter is a man with a bad thumb, Bill Madlock.
They're out there talking to Andujar. Clark is. You see Ozzie Smith coming in. There goes Porter. And they're having enough meetings already, more than they had the last time he pitched. Remember, the last time it was a sidearm curveball that got Madlock. Andujar can be very tough on the right-hand batter when he drops from that 3-quarter delivery.
The day before yesterday, when we were in St. Louis, Tommy Hurd doubled home McGee and Smith against Valenzuela in the first inning, and Madlock dived at the ball and hurt his left thumb. It is a recurrence of an old injury, and that thumb is heavily taped. They wanted to x-ray it, and Madlock said, no, I don't even want to know what's wrong with it. I have to play. And he hits one up the middle, bad thumb or otherwise. 1-0 Dodgers. And the Dodger bench going wild.
Both Guerrero and Madlock jumped on the first pitch, indication certainly being that they didn't want Andujar to get ahead of him at all, so they would have to face this sidearm. 3 quarters, and right back up the middle, and you can see Andujar try for it, Porter rooting, but to no avail.
Now Mike Marshall with Madlock aboard in there. Remember, Landreau took Andujar very deep to get Duncan to third, and that allowed the run to score unmolested. Marshall with 4 hits in 19 at-bats, hitting .211. Breaking ball, 1-1. The Dodger bench has settled back, leading 1-0. Marshall has not hit Andujar at all. The Cardinals are still, of course, in the driver's seat. Breaking ball on the count 2-2. For Bill Madlock, when he knocked in that go-ahead run, that is his 6th RBI in this league championship series. Tops for the Dodgers. And it would be tops for either team. Half a dozen. So after breaking balls away, he tried to come inside and missed. And he has gone all the way, which allows Madlock the edge of going 3-2 with 2 down and puts a little
on the Cardinal infielder.
And the hard lap, let's throw over there once or twice.
Madlock goes, and it's swung on and missed. So Marshall strikes out. The Dodgers get one on a key single by Madlock. And at the end of an inning, Dodgers 1, Cardinals nothing. Magnificent view and a bright blue sky. Unfortunately, in all of the areas beyond the ballpark, and particularly in the west and northwest, heavy pall of smoke from all of the terrible fires that they have had. I think the last estimate I heard, over 70,000 acres.
Scary, isn't it?
Terrifying. One reason is Southern California averages, I think, 14-point-something inches of rain a year. And here we are in the middle of October, and they've had 5 inches for the entire year. So it is bone dry.
Well, I know that Pepperdine area. Our Gina went there, and I'll tell you, that's beautiful. That's scary. Mountains up.
Bone dry except on the mound.
That's right.
Here's Andy Van Slyke and a ground ball to Sachs, who seizes the initiative. He wasn't going to wait for the ball to come to him. He charged it and made the play. Now, that's the thing we pointed out with Hershiser when he made his first appearance, and that is his ability to keep the ball down and consequently a lot of ground balls. If we get a lot of ground balls, you know he's on his game, as you saw Socia reminding everybody, including you at home, that Pendleton bunts.
And the broken bat. He's already gotten Clark with a broken bat. Ground balls and broken bats, and you say Hershiser has his good stuff. Not too fancy, but effective.
Pendleton hitting .250, takes a strike. But to break down that .250, he has done really all of his hitting as a right-handed batter. He's 1 for 8 from this side of the plate. And he bangs it, backhanded by Duncan. Throw, got him. Oh, what an Ozzie Smith play.
That ball at the last minute took a big hop, and what a major league play. Watch this. It comes up for him and stays down. No chance. He takes 2 steps, braces himself, knows he has to make a hard throw, and does. And gets him by a full stride. That last hop really jumps up for him.
Tell you, there's only one other shortstop in the National League who makes that play, and it's Ozzie Smith.
Major league play.
So 2 down in the second inning as Duncan takes a sure base hit away from Pendleton. Off speed to Darrell Porter, ball 1.
Remember, it was one of our Game of the Week broadcasts that Duncan talked about how much playing on the grass, how you have to concentrate so much more.
That's in there. 1 ball, 1 strike. Top of the second inning, Dodgers leading 1-0. And that's hammered to center for a base hit. Landreau over to get it on the second hop.
That was a curveball. At least that's what the catcher signaled for, but it was not a curveball the way it was thrown. It was just a big flat wrinkle. It didn't have any bite at all to it. You could see Porter just kind of set himself and wait for it and then nail it.
Here's Tito Landrum, 5 for 10 with 4 runs batted in.
He developed this new stance with Dave Ricketts and Whitey Herzog. He'll put that bat in front of him, and when the pitcher starts back, he'll put it back on his shoulder right about now.
Ground ball to Duncan. He'll go the long way to Brock, and thanks to Duncan, the side is out. No runs, 1 hit, a man left at the end of an inning and a half. 1-0 Dodgers. Bottom of the second inning, 1-0 Dodgers. We already gave you one note out of history. There has never been a World Series or best of 7 series where the team won all 7 at home, and yet that's what's happened in the first 5 games of the League Championship Series. Another note, as the Cardinals come in here leading 3 games to 2, 12 times a World Series team led 3 games to 2 and then lost. The last time that happened, Milwaukee led 3-2, and the St. Louis Cardinals beat them in '82. Ball 1 to Mike Socia. Joaquin Andujar gave up a double to Duncan and a 2-out single to Madlock, and that's the run. In there, 1-1. Another note, as we had mentioned earlier, the home team has won 13 straight National League Championship Series games. You have to go back to a Dodger defeat here against the Philadelphia Phillies. 1-0. Ground ball to first. Clark is there. 1 away.
Watching Andujar pitch, you've been reading the papers today. They were getting on Whitey about how he mispronounces names, Hershiser and all that. I was in St. Louis, heard a little guy mispronounce Andujar. He just couldn't say it. He called him walking underwear.
Creeping underwear.
Walking underwear.
1 out of the second inning. 1-0 Dodgers. Greg Brock. Now, there are 2 highly intelligent managers who are alternating or platooning men at a position. The Dodgers are platooning Cabell and Brock, and the Cardinals are platooning Cedeno and Van Slyke. How are they doing? Well, the platooning of Cabell and Brock, the Dodgers have 2 hits in 21 at-bats. Admittedly, one of them a home run. And for the Cardinals, coming in, Cedeno and Van Slyke were 3 for 17, and Van Slyke grounded out, so it's 3 for 18 now. That's the problem with platooning. You really never get any rhythm. You're jerked in and jerked out.
And you get the feeling that you have to get 4 hits every 1 time at bat if you want to stay in the lineup, and that's called pressing.
Ball 3. Of course, you remember Brock took Andujar into right field deep for the home run the last time they met in Game 2. Now, Brock, with his power, and especially with Sachs and Hershiser following, has probably gotten a 3-0 green light. He can swing if he likes the location. Way outside. Steve Sachs coming up. Remember how vitally involved he was against Andujar, taking the lead. Andujar will try to pick him off and throw it between his legs. And it went down the line, and eventually Sachs went all the way to third, and that was while Orel Hershiser was at the plate, and it eventually gave the Dodgers a big run. And that's hit in the air to Van Slyke. 2 down. So if nothing else, Hershiser will come up. And then if he makes the last out, you have the leadoff man starting off in the 3rd. Hershiser, in his game that he won here, went 1 for 4. And you remember, bounced one over the head of Terry Pendleton for a big RBI single after he had twice tried to squeeze and failed.
This is quite a young fellow. He's really enjoying all this.
Fouled away.
They kid him about looking like he's his own X-ray. He's skinny this and skinny that. And I like that one line. He's a very devout young man. And they said, does it bother you to be so aggressive since you're a Christian? He said, you don't, just because you're a Christian doesn't mean you're a wimp.
Then he paused and said, that's going to get national publicity.
He's enjoying it.
And he hits it into right field. He's enjoying that. Brock will be stopped at second. Van Slyke has a great arm.
And aggressive. That's the thing. He didn't take for granted that Brock would not go to third. He turned completely around, Van Slyke did, and he fired it to third base. You'll see an aggressive play here. Hershiser really serves it out there, and it looks like it would at least get Brock to third base. But watch Van Slyke as he picks it up. He doesn't hesitate. Back to the infield. He's firing it to third. And the reaction of Porter on that shot was kind of interesting. He turned his back to the mound and started walking back a couple steps.
Van Slyke has already shown us early in the series what a wonderful arm he has. And now with 2 out, the veteran Dominican against the kid Dominican. 2 on, 2 out. Second inning, 1-0 Dodgers. Foul back, 1-1. Fastball hit into center, base hit. Charging it is McGee. Brock will score. 2-0 Dodgers.
A fastball out over the plate, and Duncan just served it. It looked like a good pitch outside part of the plate, and he just serves it. It was not right down the middle. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Could be he was trying to sink one, and Duncan just served it.
Landreau, the on-deck hitter, almost hit him with the bat trying to get over and signal to Brock that he didn't have to slide. By the way, he didn't exactly put that ball up to the plate. That was a 92-mile-an-hour fastball. Here's Landreau, who took him to deep left center in the first inning. Pickoff play, and Hershiser just got back. He hesitated and still got back.
Andujar hesitated, and he lost the play. They had him. They had Hershiser picked off right here. He's going the wrong way. He really doesn't know what to do here. And look at Ozzie hollering, "Give me the ball." But Andujar waited until Ozzie got to the bag. Had he thrown it when Ozzie was on the move, he would have had him, because Hershiser was really dancing the wrong way.
Hershiser at second, Duncan at first, 2 out. 0-1. The Dodgers 2 runs, 4 hits. The Cardinals no runs, 2 hits, and we are just warming up, literally and figuratively. Temperature in the middle 80s here in Los Angeles. And Kenny hits a high fly ball to right center. It's playable, says McGee. So the Dodgers get 1 run on a walk and 2 hits, lead 2-0. And we'll be back after these messages from your local station. Of the National League Championship Series is brought to you by Century 21 Real Estate Organization and by Ralston Purina Company, makers of Purina Pet Foods and other fine products from Checkerboard Square. It is hard to believe, as we see that shot of Dodger Stadium, a rather serene scene it would appear. It is hard to believe of all the drama taking place down on the field, and also not too far away, the fire departments of Southern California trying to put the lid on hell, as one of the headlines recorded today. And we go on.
Watch Porter's reaction on that base hit by Hershiser. He pounds the glove, and he just turns his back on us. I can't watch any more of this. I know the feeling. Many times it just happens. It is just pure disgust. Nothing you can do. You're not upsetting anybody. It's just that you're just going to react.
Here's Andujar now to start it off against Hershiser. Andujar probably drives it to left field. Back goes Guerrero to the track at the wall. Can't get it. And into second base goes Andujar with a double, and Guerrero has hurt himself. Guerrero is limping in left field. And he might have hit that arm again.
Might be that arm. Watch his way he hits it. He doesn't think that ball's hit that hard. Andujar in batting practice hit 3 balls in the seats. Watch Guerrero now. He goes into the wall very hard. It's that bad hand first.
Yep.
And here goes Bill Buehler out there to see how he's feeling. He is hurting.
Remember, he also has a bad knee, but I think he re-injured the wrist. And the way he talked to Landreau and looked up, I think the sun bothered him. I think he feels he might have caught the ball, but the sun got him.
Andujar hit the first pitch, but I asked him if he was going to bat right-handed or left-handed. He said right-handed. I asked him why. He said because he didn't want his pitching arm exposed. There's a shot of it again. Now look at the left hand, the glove hand, go into the wall, and that's the bad hand. And you can see him coming off, and he's in pain. It's the pain that forces him to limp. In fact, when he throws the ball, watch, he almost just flings it in there.
So Bill Buehler working on that left wrist, which he originally injured on the 7th of September, going after a foul ball on a Game of the Week Saturday afternoon telecast with the New York Mets. So for Guerrero, struggling at best anyway, that's all he needed to do was re-injure it, and he's just going to try and fight it off. There is the proof of that bad right knee that he has had. He's really a fellow with a lot of problems out there in left field.
And it's strange. It always seems when you have an injury, no matter what you do, you can't hide it.
Well, here is Willie McGee with Andujar at second, nobody out in the 3rd inning. And that's hit up the middle, speared by Duncan to get him. And I'm not sure whether Hershiser's foot touched that ball or not, but Duncan was able to handle it. Maybe it just hit the side of the mound, and that took a little smoke away from it.
That and the fact that he kind of hit it on the handle, but he roams wide and very far. He's on the first base side of second, as you can see, and put something on that throw and gets McGee. He may have broken his bat on that. We'll see it here. It's off the side of the mound. He tried to kick it. Duncan is really showing some great defense out there.
And remember, he's a fellow who could not play the first game in St. Louis because of the spiked left knee and the foul ball on the instep. The Dodger infield is back except for Madlock. Everybody else goes back. Ozzie Smith, the batter. And remember, he bunted, and Hershiser unable to pick it up. It went for a single. Ozzie has hit in all 6 league championship games. Right. And of course, in this spot, he is an ideal hitter because he just doesn't strike out. Now back. So now you really have the battle. Hershiser, as far as being a strikeout pitcher, the most strikeouts he has had in a game this year. He had 9 in May against Philadelphia. But he is not really the kind of man you expect to blow a hitter away. And you have the real challenge now with Ozzie Smith, 0-2 and a runner at third. Ozzie, you can bet with that short stroke, just trying to get the ball on the ground and pick up Andujar. And Socia talking to the infielders.
He mentioned it to Brock. Come in a couple steps so we can get the guy at the plate. They've moved Brock in. Sachs is back, but Brock has moved in a little bit.
And there's a miracle to strike out the Wizard.
There was a breaking ball, hard breaking ball inside, and it was off the strike zone. Ozzie tried to knock that run in, chased it, and you'll see it. Great pitch by Hershiser, way ahead. Even if Ozzie hits it, he hits it on a handle, really doesn't send it anywhere.
Give you an idea of how difficult it is to get Ozzie Smith. You know how many times he struck out this year? 27 in over 600 at-bats. That's near miraculous. Now here's Tommy Herr, hit into a 4th play in the 1st inning. Ball 1. So Andujar is at third, and a big RBI man at the plate. And he is very much on his stick, as you can see. Line drive, base hit, and the run is in, just like that. So you let Andujar double, and immediately the Cardinals, like the good ball club they are, cash him in.
Did you ever see a ball player, I'm sure you have, but in recent times do so much and be so matter-of-fact and quiet about it as Tommy Herr?
What a year.
He just goes out and does the job. As you look at that Cardinal bench, no fanfare, takes his batting practice, goes out and fields his ground balls, drives in runs, just gets the job done. You wind him up and send him out, he gives you a good game.
And he has hit in all 6 of the league championship games, as well as fielding his position flawlessly, driving in clutch runs. For Tommy Herr, he has knocked in a half a dozen runs now in the 6 games. This year he had 110 RBIs. He indeed is an all-star. And now here's Jack Clark, hit into a force play in the 1st inning. And another thing that Herr does, he does everything well. He runs well. He has stolen 31 bases. And he has stolen second base 26 out of 28, although he's doubtful with a hitter like Clark at the plate. Right.
It's a cinch if he runs. Sachs will have to cover as we look at Red Schoendienst.
Red Schoendienst, if the Dodgers win today and it makes it a 7-game series, it certainly would not be any surprise to him. We'll conclude the thought in a minute as to why. 0-1 to Jack Clark. 1-1. Red Schoendienst has been in 7 best-of-7 World Series. 3 as a player, 2 as a manager, 2 as a coach. All 7 went 7. 1-1 to count to Clark. And they got her picked off, and a high throw allowed him to get back.
He's calling balk. He thought he balked. He made a move, and he wants to know why they didn't call it a balk. Stellos, he's arguing. He thought he had balked. He had stopped, but he completed the throw. Right here, he's surprised. Now, he's got him right here. Now, why it would be a balk? He's off the mound. Everything's fine to me.
The mistake that Hershiser made was to make that extra step. If he had just thrown the ball over to first, they got him. But he made a step and then threw, and it was too late. It gave her the step to get back to the bag.
He thought he'd get him at second.
We'll see how important that is now in a 2-1 ball game. You miss the third out on a pickoff play at first, and you have a home run hitter at the plate.
Mike's just trying to break the mood now, because I'm sure Hershiser's thinking about it. Hey, come on, let's get this hitter now. You can't afford to worry about her. You got to think about him, sure, but you make a mistake on Clark, and we're not going to have that lead.
And he hits a fly ball off the hands. Tough play. Guerrero can't get it. He hit it off the hands, and although we can hear it near home plate, the outfielders can't, and instinctively they're frozen. You don't play the outfield by the crack of the bat.
If you do, you miss the play, and you go by the swing, and Clark takes that big swing. Guerrero picked it up right away. It's just that he hit it on the handle, and there was nothing you could do but watch it drop.
I remember a quote which certainly applies here on that one. The luck of having talent is not enough. One must also have a talent for luck. And for the Cardinals, they have her picked off, and he gets back. Now a little flare into left field, and they're in business. Here's Andy Van Slyke, grounded out in the second inning. Strike. High fly ball into left center. Guerrero and Landreau both calling. It'll be Guerrero. Due to lead off the bottom of the third, we might get an indication of how badly he hurt his wrist. At the end of 2.5, 2-1 Dodgers. Bottom of the third inning with the Dodgers leading the Cardinals 2-1. 2 runs, 4 hits, and no errors for the Dodgers. 1 run, 5 hits, no errors for the Cardinals. The Cardinals leaving men aboard. They have left 4, and the Dodgers have left 3. So each side with ample opportunity to open it up a little bit.
Underscore what you've been saying. Guerrero is not even on the on-deck circuit. He'll come out, but he was there, and a lot of the guys talking to him, and here he comes now. It'll be an interesting time at bat, man.
He has assumed such tremendous proportions because of the way he carried the Dodgers in June and July. He really became the big man, the big guy, the MVP, until the injury. And from September the 7th on, he has just been shrinking, although his stature on the ball club remains the same. He is not close to being the same hitter. His average in the league championship series, 278. But I think he made a mistake. It is only my own personal thought. You see that note. He wanted to break that record so badly that he played every day with the bad wrist where he should have rested it. Played every day, and I think developed some bad habits in trying to hit a home run in otherwise meaningless games. So he has not been the same hitter in the league championship series. Right. And we'll see how he swings the bat now, having twisted that wrist again.
Man, it certainly is understandable, though, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good, yeah.
And he was very honest about it. He said, I want to break that record more than anything. 1-1.
You know, when you talk about a team leader, a guy does it with the bat and with the glove. I mean, the most overrated thing ever in baseball, as far as I was concerned, was the holler guy. The guy that hollered 2 outs when you got $1 million scoreboard would tell you the same thing, and then there'd be a bunt play, and that same guy'd get lockjaw.
1-1. Popped it up. And let's see, it'll be Terry Pendleton. He almost has a collision with John McSherry, and that would have registered about a 7 on the Richter scale.
That's a high sky. Now, he flipped the glasses and lost the ball. Watch him flip the glasses up so he can see it better. He's looking for the base there. He sees he's got plenty of room. He's in foul territory. There go the glasses. That high sky, remember, it was Nobi Kawano gave me the best explanation. And then you almost see that collision between Pendleton and the handball court. You don't know if the ball's going up or coming down, and that's why it makes it so high. Oh, John got out of the way, though. Give him credit for that. He was right on top of the play, but man, he is a big guy.
It was a good play by John. He was able to get out of Pendleton's way on a ball that certainly fooled Terry. So 1 out, and here is Madlock. First ball swinging, singled in the first inning. Breaking ball strike in the count 0-1.
Man, there's not a cloud in the sky. I mean, nothing is up there. Just a blimp in the plane.
0-1 the count. Breaking ball strike. Unfortunately, today, it's deceptive. That is just some of the smoke from the raging inferno that is a part of Southern California. So the blue skies over the ballpark are fine, but the mountains have disappeared. Madlock strikes out.
There's that sidearm pitch. It's vicious. He did it to Madlock in the game he pitched here, and Madlock didn't give him a chance the first time up when he tried to get ahead of him. He jumped on the first pitch. Here with the sidearm curveball, he got him. Watch this. He really drops it down, and it looks like it's even out of the strike zone. It certainly is.
And as each minute goes by, I keep thinking of how important that Andujar double was. It looked for a while there as if the Dodgers had everything going their way. And boy, they were brought to an abrupt halt by Andujar's double and the resulting run. There's a drive to left field, but it's playable, and Landrum will make the play. So the Dodgers are out in order to show you how things have calmed down for Andujar. And at the end of 3, Dodgers 2, Cardinals 1. 3 innings in here at Dodger Stadium with the Dodgers battling to stay afloat. 2 runs, 4 hits, and no errors. And the Cardinals 1 run, 5 hits, and no errors. Dodger Stadium, a magnificent ballpark, and all you have to do is look at its history. It opened in 1962. 21 times they have played to over 2 million in paid attendance. 6 times they have played to over 3 million. In 1982, the paid attendance 3,608,881, an all-time record and out of sight as far as everybody else in baseball.
And it sure was great, Vin, to see Johnny Padres and Roy Campanella. They threw out the first ball today. Memories really got jarred.
Of 1955. Pendleton fouls it away in the count 0-1. Little nubber back to Hershiser, and he handles the comebacker to Brock. Here's that play that deprived Pendleton. Take a look at it. Remember, Pendleton is hitting left-handed. That makes it even tougher from where Duncan has to throw.
He really had to throw that ball hard. If you've ever wondered about umpires, do they get scouting reports or do they make up their own reports when the pitcher, like say Jerry Crawford behind the plate, does he say Hershiser's going to throw curveball, fastballs? I asked Bruce Fremy just to reconfirm it. He says we just categorize it as does he throw strikes or is he wild? And both these pitchers today throw strikes.
Here's Darrell Porter. Ball 1.
See, now my thought would be, one would say the other, does this guy complain a lot?
That's one thing they really don't worry about.
2-0 to Darrell Porter, who is single to center with 2 out in the second inning.
waiting his turn, Tito Landrum. 2-0 to Porter, hitting .250. And he fly balls to right center, and Landro is there. He hit that on the hands.
Just watching that last pitch, though, and Jerry Crawford behind the plate, I wonder why his dad, Shag Crawford, doesn't get on him a little bit about why don't you umpire like I did and get behind that catcher. Jerry doesn't use the catcher. His father used the catcher better than anybody I know. Foul balls didn't get old Shag because he was using that catcher, and that's a smart umpire.
Here's Tito Landrum. Not to keep throwing quotes, except great minds, and they're always worth listening to. Ground ball to the hole to Duncan. Boy, that hugged the ground, and he gets him. Mark Twain said, I always thought my father was an idiot when I was 14, and when I was 21, I was amazed how smart he had gotten in the last 7 years. Bottom of the fourth inning, 2-1 Dodgers. Once again, we'd like to remind our viewers we'll be selecting the NBC Light Beer from Miller Player of the Game at the conclusion of this ball game. We're just starting. Bottom of the fourth, the Dodgers will have Mike Scioscia, followed by Greg Brock, and then Steve Sachs. 2-1 Dodgers. If you joined us a little late, Duncan doubled in the first inning, and with 2 out, Madlock singled him home. In the second inning, Brock walked, took second on a single by Hershiser, and Duncan's single got Brock home. For the Cardinals, Andujar opened up the third with a double, and with 2 out, Tommy Herr singled him home. So it is 2-1 Dodgers, fourth inning. And Mike Scioscia grounded out in the second inning. In the series, hitting .214. He has not been hitting the ball crisply at all, however. One of his hits in the series was a bunt. Strike. He got a broken bat single against Ford. So he has 3 hits, 1 a broken bat single and 1 a bunt. And I think he's paying the price for catching every day. Line drive into left field. Base hit. So we shall put that under the heading of a little knowledge is a dangerous thing, right?
It always happens.
So that'll bring up Greg Brock. Brock walked. The count went to 3-0, and you were pretty sure he was going to rip 3-0 if he got a strike, but the pitch was way high and outside. And you certainly don't look bunt, especially with Scioscia the runner and Brock the batter. He has 2 career sacrifices in almost 1,200 at-bats.
And a strictly pull hitter. He's got that gap between first and second.
Well, there must be something in the wind. Scioscia taking a bigger lead than he should. And Clark grumbled, and he thought he had him.
Andujar has a good move. He unloads it in a hurry. It really is not that big a lead.
No. Just tardy and getting back on a good move.
And you notice that foot where it went in and really went in the side of the bag.
High fly ball into right center. McGee going back to the track and will make the catch. So Brock flies to center, and Scioscia holding at first, 1 away.
Now, though, look out.
I tell you, there is a dramatic difference, and it's the architecture of the 2 ballparks, Busch Stadium in St. Louis and Dodger Stadium. Acoustically, almost anything sounds like a cannon shot in Busch Stadium. But since Dodger Stadium is not really completely enclosed, you don't really get that same sound at all. Sachs flied to right in the second inning, ball 1. Dodgers 2, Cardinals 1 in the fourth. 2 balls, 1 strike. Sachs takes ball 3. Sachs is a question, and you might have questioned the other day when the count went to 3-1 in a bunt situation, and Sachs took, and yeah, I know you and I did question it. And I asked Tommy Lasorda on the flight home, and he said I had to take on it.
That was he admitted in the paper. Unusual.
3-1. What Socha. He's not going, and it's fouled away. 3-2.
Here's a tough decision now. You got one man out. You got a slow runner. You get a strikeout. You should get the throw out in second base. You're out of the inning. Your pitcher leads off. If you hold him, hits the ground ball. Managers have to make the decision.
Herzog, who reads the stat sheet, knows that Sachs has struck out more than any other Dodger in the series, 4 times. So let's see what happens.
What would you do? I'd run him.
I'd run him too.
I'd run him. I can't wait for the ground ball.
You know one reason why I'd run him too? To try and get back that rush that you had going in the first 2 innings. So she goes, and there's a high chopper on what might have been ball 4. I think that thing was inside, but Sachs grounds into the out.
You were right. It was definitely a bad ball. With 2 strikes, he's going to pitch at the plate or not get called out, and he chased a bad ball.
So Sachs swinging at what appeared to be ball 4. You look at it.
No question about it.
Yep. Yeah, he is not a disciplined hitter by any means. The only thing you can say about that swing was at least he hit it. So you have a runner at second, 2 out, and here is Hershiser. On the 3-2 pitch the other day when Sachs struck out, he struck out at ball 4. So he's a tough man to put a play on. Hershiser single to right in the second inning. He's 2 for 5 in the series. Ball 1. Remember, he bounced a single to left in the first game against Andujar, and the single to right today.
I don't know if I just saw it or it was in my mind, but it looked like he was walking up on that pitch. He got set in the batter's box, and they kept creeping up like he wanted the ball inside.
Looking breaking ball. Breaking ball hit down to Terry Fenelon. That's that. But he's out of the way, and they will begin the next inning with Duncan. No runs, 1 hit. And at the end of 4, 2-1 Dodgers. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. Game 6 of the National League Championship Series is brought to you by Ralston Purina Company, makers of Purina Pet Foods and other fine products from Checkerboard Square. And by Ford and your local Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? I think there have been a couple of keys so far in 4 innings. Andujar's double in the 3rd inning seemed to take away some of the Dodger momentum and wake up the Cardinals. And a key pitch, Sachs swinging at what should have been ball 4 in the 4th inning. And instead of giving the Dodgers first and second and 1 out and Hershiser to do whatever, Sachs grounded out, so did Hershiser, and that went by. Plus the double that shook Guerrero up when he went into the fence in left field. All of that in the first 4 innings.
Bet you nickel the first pitch to Andujar is a curveball.
Hitting off for St. Louis.
You mean after what happened last time?
That's right. He laid a fastball in there, and Andujar really hit it. Let's see what it is. I know that's what I'd be calling for.
So Andujar 1 for 1.
Whoop. Uncle Charlie, hello there.
Joaquin 1 for 1 today. 333 in the series. Ball 2. There wasn't much on that. That was an off-speed pitch.
He didn't snap that one off at all. Now he's got to come in with the fastball. And Andujar, he's got pretty good power. That ball happens to be where his bat is when he swings. He can hit it out of here. He had 3 of them out in batting practice.
2 balls, no strikes. Ball 3. 3-0. In there. In game 1, that Andujar pitch, his first game, which happened to be game 2 of the series, he hit into a double play and he struck out. When he hit into a double play, he bunted. But remember, as we showed you, it wasn't a case of not running it out. He was on his back. 3-1. Busted bat or lost bat. Busted bat. Foul ball. Boy, a big chunk. Woof. 3-2.
He had the handle in his hand, and you could see, watch his bat just splinter. He's got a big hunk of it left in his hand. And there it goes flying over Madlock's head. Bill had it all the way. He had it all the way. I've always wanted an infielder to pick up the bat and see if he could throw it across the infield, make it like a ground ball.
3-2 to Andujar. A hot one hopper right at Madlock.
He was hustling down that line, too. He was really running hard. He thought he had himself a base hit, but Madlock made a good play. It was right at him.
Right at his belt buckle.
Nothing he could do but catch that ball. He didn't have to hardly move. Look at that.
Maybe a little lower than the belt buckle.
He was sure in front of it.
So 1 away in the 5th inning. Dodgers leading 2-1, and here's Willie McGee. Twice grounded to short. McGee hitting 174. A dramatic difference, of course, from the magnificent season he enjoyed. 4-1.
There's a lot of things you have to like about this young man besides his baseball ability. Most guys would be complaining. He says, I'm just not swinging at strikes. It's my fault. End of story.
1-0 to Willie. Way outside. Now remember, Hershiser was 3-0 to Andujar, and Socia doesn't like him going 2-0 to McGee. He's going out there to kind of pump him up a little bit.
He also saw something in his delivery because he motioned to him that come like 3/4. Like he saw something in the mechanics of Hershiser that he didn't like.
Position of the arm.
Yeah, right.
And line drive. Base hit to left field. So McGee, a rabbit, is at first. Remember, 56 stolen bases during the regular season. And with 1 out, Ozzie Smith, the batter. So the tying run is aboard and in very capable hands or feet. 4-2. So far, with Ozzie Smith at the plate, Orel Hershiser has thrown over to first 10 times, and he's made 3 pitches. Now, he made 6 pitches to Andujar. He's working very hard here in the 5th. And there goes McGee. Pitch outside, the throw, got it.
He's got a good jump. Now, Socia's throw is just dead perfect. Tagged him kind of high, but watch Socia where he catches that ball that goes right into it. I mean, he guns it.
I can see, too, on that play, and only from that shot, where the Dodgers have worked with Socia. He used to long arm the ball, and on that it was very evident how his elbow had broken, and he caught the ball close.
He caught it close to him, which is what we talked about the first time.
Right.
If you catch the ball out here, you have to bring it back to your body and then bring the arm up. He caught it close to his body, much like a bow and arrow effect is what it is. He got that arm right up behind his ear, and he really gunned it.
Well, it shows you an awful lot of hard work went into that throw to get Willie McGee. 3-2, the count to Ozzie. Ground ball to Duncan. And they're out of the inning. Handshakes all around at the end of 4 1/2. 2-1 Dodgers. Nice and peaceful up there. And good and noisy down here.
That's Willie McGee after being thrown out at second base. He had a good jump, but you can see he really feels it, and he's thinking about that play.
McGee, of course, struggling in the series. He has been caught 3 times trying to steal while being successful only once. The league's leading hitter came in here hitting 190. So it's been a tough series for him.
But never an alibi.
Oh, no. Mariano Duncan doubled and singled. Then Landro and Guerrero. 2-1 Dodgers 5th inning. High chopper back to Andujar, who lost it in the sun.
could see he was in trouble from the minute the ball was hit. He looks up and he can't find it. Look at him trying to shade his eyes, and he really doesn't see it. Watch the reaction of Andujar when the ball goes up. Now he can't find it, shades his eyes, still can't find it.
So Duncan gets aboard. They are going to give Andujar an error. It was quite apparent that he had lost the ball in the sun. And the batter is Kenny Landreau. Now remember, Duncan is a good base stealer. Landreau does not bunt very much at all. And Landreau is hitting .438. Duncan held on by Clark, and they'll watch him. He has stolen 14 straight. He finished up the year going 9 for 9.
He's one of those guys who sort of gives the green light to. If you get a good jump, take off. He's got a good lead.
He burned the Cardinals this year. He went 4 for 4 against them. And that's as big a lead as he can take. If he takes a millimeter more, they'll hang him out to dry.
That was very close. Andujar unloads in a hurry. He has to dive back. And when you're diving back like that, that is as far as you can go.
He went out to check his bottom line, as Willie McGee did. Landreau backs out as if he's bothered a little bit. Perhaps his concentration. Now very slowly Landreau back into the box. And now time called again. Kenny doesn't appear ready. He looks slightly either confused or at least bothered.
Might be a play on. Got a sign.
And there goes Duncan. The pitch is inside. The throw is high. I think a better throw might have gotten him. But Porter almost threw it into center field.
He threw it hard, but threw it high. Duncan, he's off and running. Straight steal. Look at that head looking for second base. A head first slide. And I mean, when he hits the dirt, he really picks up speed. It was a good ball for Porter to handle. Just too high.
And that was after 6 throws to first base. And Duncan now is 5 for 5 against the Cardinals this year. 1-1. Strike. I'm surprised Landreau even did that. He only sacrificed 3 times this year. The Dodgers are hoping he can get a ball that he can pull. Remember, in the first inning with Duncan at second, he took Andujar deep enough to left center so that Duncan could tag and get to third. 1-2. High bouncer over the mound behind second. Flagged by Ozzie to get him. And over to third again Duncan. And once more we saw Ozzie Smith kickstart his body.
That's what he did. Watch him when he gets in the air. He's got to put something on it. Watch him shift it right there, and he gets enough on it. And again, Landreau does the thing that the good team does. They pick up the base with an out. He did it with the long fly ball in the second inning, or in the first inning rather, and he picks it up here.
Well, now we're going to find out something. First of all, they're going to pitch to Guerrero. Secondly, remember, he re-injured his wrist. Thirdly, he has popped up to second with a runner at third and popped up to third. Andujar is going to pitch from a windup, and the infield is up. Breaking ball and a fly ball into left center. That'll be deep enough. McGee lost it for a moment. Makes the catch. Here comes Duncan, and he will score. So a chopper back to the mound that's lost in the sun is cashed in.
McGee, it's deep enough, but he really doesn't give up. He throws it all the way, hoping hoping that maybe Duncan would stumble, maybe trip, fall, or something, and he got his reporter all the way on the fly, but didn't have a chance.
Here's Madlock, single to drive in a run and struck out. 3-1 Dodgers in the 5th. First ball on a breaking ball, 0-1.
And twice, the two runs that the Dodgers have scored, Landro was able to pick up that base with an out, and boom, they cashed it in.
Mariano Duncan is 2 for 3, scored twice, driven in 1, and there's a high fly ball into deep left. Back goes Landrum, away back, it's gone.
Hits 2 RBIs. He singled in the run in that first inning to give the Dodgers a lead.
Now, he hurt his thumb in the first inning of the game the day before yesterday. Then in the 4th inning, hit a 2-run home run with that bad thumb. Now today has a single to drive in a run and a home run with that bad thumb. So Madlock, who became not Mad Dog but Glad Dog, been quoted as saying, "I'm in heaven," must have found a miraculous cure for that left thumb.
I don't know of anything that'll cure aches and pains quicker than a base hit.
But what a base hit to take him 370, 375. And now here's Marshall hitting 190. Right. Interesting, we pointed it out in his first game as Mike Marshall is ready to go against Andujar. You know, the Cardinals averaged 7 runs for Andujar in each game he won. Ground ball hit Ozzie. That will be that, but that was complicated by a comebacker lost in the sun. And at the end of 5, the Dodgers 4, the Cardinals 1. Hurd, Clark, and Van Slyke 2 up in the 6th. Well, you certainly couldn't think of the home field advantage, especially at noon when this game started. There was half a house full and a laid-back Southern California crowd in 80-degree weather, but I think the crowd's helping now.
Well, I think the home field advantage was proven in St. Louis. The way they turned out, the players talked about it. It affected the Dodgers so much that Mike Scioscia's wife, Ann Scioscia, was pleading with the fans to come out dressed in blue. So the crowd in St. Louis did it, and apparently today the Dodger crowd did it.
And we don't know, in case you weren't with us earlier, whether it was gamesmanship. Whitey Herzog refused to allow his team to be introduced and stand on the first base foul line, so the picture was really out of focus. The Dodgers were all lined up at third, and it was as if really they had given a ball game and nobody came.
And then that mound situation, we're not accusing anybody, but that was the Okefenokee swamp out there.
Well, I think you're right when you said the dirt doesn't burn. But there's a lot of burning going on of intensity in each dugout. The Dodgers leading the Cardinals 4-1, and in the 6th inning, it'll be Tommy Hurd, followed by Jack Clark, and then Andy Van Slyke. Bill Madlock now has 3 home runs and 8 runs batted in this league championship series. And in fact, take one away, make it 7 RBIs, because Guerrero's fly ball picked up the other. Ball 1. It's that old story about for want of a nail, the shoe was lost. For want of the shoe, the horse, the rider, the battle, and the war. And that one bouncer hit back to the box by Duncan sure gave Joaquin Andujar a bad inning. 2-2, the count to Tommy Herr. Hit into a force play, single to drive in a run. How typical of him in the third inning. He has hit in all 6. Pounded back. Among other things, he does everything else anyway. Second baseman, base stealer, RBI man, clutch hitter, and the Cardinal player representative. Not a bad guy to represent your club. Call me Mr. Naturally, that last name in German translates Mr. Trying to outthink him in a crouch behind the plate is the Dodger player rep, Mike Scioscia. 3-2. I'll tell you, Hershiser is falling into a pattern, and he started to fall into it in the 5th inning. And even as early as the 3rd, he's trying to make perfect pitches. And when he does, all of a sudden he's 3-1, 3-2, 2-0.
He tries to get too fine before he has to. There's no one on right now. The one thing you want to stay away from is the base on balls.
And he's gone 3-2 to Tommy Herr. Just missed. So Tommy Herr walks.
First baseman.
With all of his high wire act, that's the first walk, but it's enough to get Karnowski on the phone to the bullpen.
But you know, we talked about it this summer, Ben. The control pitcher is the guy who puts good stuff on that 2-2 pitch. I mean, you get a guy that'll go 3-2, and then the guy hits it. You look at the stats, and it doesn't show many base on balls. You say, well, he's not wild. That isn't true.
That was Jerry Royce who got up, and I think Jerry Royce might begin to warm up. And the batter is Jack Clark. Fastball popped in the air to right field. Marshall has to go back, but he's there. And Herr halfway. So one away as Clark. Now that's an interesting thing as you look at Royce and Ken Howell, the right-hander. After Hershiser was pitching so deliberately to go 3-2 and walk Herr, Clark went after a pitch, obviously a little bit off the plate, or at least away. Flies to right field. Let's see what Van Slyke does. 0 for 2. Grounded out, fly to left. Ground ball wide to first. Hershiser has to cover. Sachs hits him with the throw, and down to second goes Herr.
Third baseman.
Hershiser really jammed him. Van Slyke, he had a good swing, but hit it right off the handle.
So with 2 out, Orel Hershiser will be working on Terry Pendleton. Don't forget tonight, exclusive coverage of the 7th and deciding game of the American League Championship Series. Pennant Fever underway at 8 Eastern. The League Championship Series, an inside look, followed by Game 7. The Blue Jays and the Royals live from Exhibition Stadium in Toronto. Bob Costas and Tony Kubek will be right there.
Certainly congratulations to both ball clubs. They have battled and right down to the 7th game.
Great series. Pendleton robbed of a hit by Duncan and hit back to the box. High bouncer to the right of Sachs. He backhand gets him. So the Cardinals lead Tommy Herr, and at the end of 5.5, 4-1 Dodgers.
Lots of hustle, that's our repeat. That's why he's eating what the big boys eat. Loved his Wheaties since he was small. Now dig in, big boy, have a ball. Classic hits of crunchy wheat. Pure and simple, not too sweet. Dive right into those Wheaties, Pete. Now go tell your mama what the big boys eat.
Walter O'Malley's dream came to fruition in 1962, and what a showplace it is indeed. Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, the site of Game 6 of this National League Championship Series. 4 runs, 6 hits, and no errors for the Dodgers. 1 run, 6 hits, and 1 error for the Cardinals. The starting pitchers are still there. Joaquin Andujar and Orel Hershiser. The bullpens are quiet. Campbell and Horton had been up once behind Andujar. Royce and Howell were up once behind Hershiser. And now it's Orel's chance to sit and cool, and Scioscia's chance to swing the bat. He's grounded out and singled 1 for 2. Foul ball. Not a bad idea, of course, with the right side of the infield deep and the third baseman fairly back. 2-1. Andujar walked Brock on 4 pitches in the second inning. Came close to walking Sachs, but Sachs wouldn't let him walk when he swung at a bad ball in the 4th inning. And he walked Scioscia. So that's 4 times in 6 innings. Whitey Herzog has seen the Dodgers and Lasorda's crew get the leadoff man on base. Now it's Brock. You see Bill Campbell down in the bullpen for St. Louis. Campbell can be getting ready for either way, to come in now or to come in after they hit for Andujar. We talked about the platooning. Cedeno and Van Slyke have 3 hits in 20 at-bats between them. Cabell and Brock have 2 hits in 22 at-bats. So the platooning for the Cardinals in right field and the Dodgers at first base has not done a thing to merit either side. The difference, of course, Brock did hit that 2-run home run. High pop fly. It'll be Tommy Hurd.
Trouble. He's got trouble. He really battled that. He had to flip the glasses up, and he had to really battle that sun. Watch, and he's still checking it right now. You can see he was in deep trouble, never gave up on the play. Now he's got the glasses down. He can't find it right here. Right here he's in trouble. Now he's looking, finds it. Battling it once again. I tell you, that was a good play, because he never gave up and wasn't sure after he caught the ball.
So we've seen 2, one by Tommy Hurd, the other one by Terry Pendleton. Each time they finally had to lift the sunglasses to find the ball. Here's Sachs. Flied to right, grounded to third. And popped up a bad ball again. I'll bet you that thing was way out of the strike zone. So he's just up there flailing away right now. Take a look at that pitch and see where it was. Way up. So he popped it up.
The riding fastball always looks so good to the hitter, but the power hitter is the guy you don't mind taking a whack at that one, because that's what he's really looking for. But when you're batting in the 8th spot like Sachs, you look for him to punch that ball the opposite field and 1st and 3rd for a while.
Hershiser singled to right and grounded to 3rd. Breaking ball. He bailed out on it. You can see Porter indicating to Andujar, get that shoulder in and drive at the hitter. You're opening up.
He kind of just eased that curveball in there. He really didn't get into it. A pitcher like a hitter, if he opens up too soon, just loses his power and just doesn't drive into it. Drive into the pitch, drive into the ball with the bat. They're doing a lot of things in this game, staying with Andujar.
On the corner. Good pitch. 1-2.
Hasn't seen the fastball yet. If he sees the fastball, it's going to have some smoke on it, I'll tell you that. Wouldn't be surprised this would be sidearm.
Got him with the breaking ball again. So the Dodgers get the leadoff walk to Scioscia and lead him. 4-1 Dodgers. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. This telecast, presented by authority of Major League Baseball, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. We're going to the 7th inning at Dodger Stadium. Darrell Porter, followed by Tito Landrum, and then Joaquin Andujar or a hitter. Andujar still fussing, and I'm sure at himself over the 5th inning. It should be a 2-1 game, but the bouncer by Duncan that he lost in the sun undermined what is otherwise a strong effort. Guerrero's fly ball got a run home, and then Madlock homered, and he is seething in the Cardinal dugout. Cary Grant, who is one of the not celebrities who go to games. He is a baseball fan who happens to be a celebrity.
Looks like he's the eye in the sky. Look at him. He just
That's his wife, Barbara. And he'll come out early enough just to watch batting practice. He is one of the few celebrities who really comes to see a game.
He acted like he was surprised to see himself on television.
Yeah. He's a marvel. Darrell Porter, Tito Landrum, and then we'll see about Andujar. And promptly, first ball single. So after getting into a sloppy mood of pitching behind the hitters, Hershiser tried to start a hitter off with a strike, and Porter greets him with a single.
And it was the curveball. Porter hit that same curveball in the 2nd inning, hit it in the same spot as Pernoski starts to get that bullpen ready.
Well, the last time, remember, Kenny Howell and Jerry Royce were up. And it would appear as if they'll go with the same combination. There's Royce. But there's Niedenfuhr, not Howell. Tito Landrum twice grounded to short. Andujar is out on deck. Fouled away. 2nd deck off to the right. So Joaquin evidently will take his turn, and there's no one throwing in the Cardinal bullpen. As we told you, Andujar has not been cheated. He has really had some good rips at the plate. 0-1. Almost hit him. 1 ball, 1 strike. Hershiser, in the first game that he pitched, appeared to get a little bit stronger as the evening went along. Now he's in the 7th inning. He has allowed 7 hits. Ground ball up the middle, and it's a base hit. Porter will stop at second, and Hershiser's got the wobbles as the Cardinals try to get off the floor and come back. And Andujar will now give way to Steve Braun.
Duncan gives it a good effort. He just wanted to knock that ball down, but just could not get to it.
And Ron Pernoski is out to the mound to talk to Hershiser, who began his wobbles in the 5th inning. Remember, he went 3-0 to Andujar, then went 3-2, and Andujar ripped one at Madlock. He went 3-2 to McGee, who singled. He got out of that inning. Then he walked Tommy Herr, opening up the 6th inning. And now in the 7th, back-to-back singles, and you know he's struggling. Steve Braun, who is the active Major League pinch hit leader with 113 coming up. Braun beat the Dodgers earlier this year here at Dodger Stadium with a pinch hit. So Andujar goes 6 innings and allows 4 runs, 6 hits. Big bouncer wide of first. Brock will have to feed Hershiser, and the runners move up 90 feet. So the play goes 3-1. Landrum advancing to 2nd, and Porter to 3rd, and Willie McGee coming up with first base open, representing the tying run. McGee twice grounded to short, and in the 5th inning, single to left, but was thrown out on a perfect throw from Mike Socia to Mariano Duncan. On the corner. 0-1. There wasn't very much on that. By that I mean there wasn't any velocity. He just made a perfect pitch. 0-1. Fouled away. So he has McGee where he wants him. 0-2.
I'm sure Socia, when he goes out, as we look at Ozzie Smith, is just going to set up these pitches. If indeed he's going to waste this pitch because he's got in 2 strikes, where is he going to throw it? And then remind him of the scouting report. And that says he chases the ball, it's low and inside, out of the strike zone. He's got him down 2 strikes. He can work on him.
when he was striking out against Valenzuela. He was hitting right-handed, and he was chasing the ball both low and inside and low and outside. So let's see what happens as a left-handed batter. 0-2. Ball one, and it wasn't very much on that, and so she's going out to talk to him.
Man, that's an American Legion curveball.
Oh,
that thing just was flat.
No, nothing.
Lucky it was out of the strike zone. I'm sure what you do in a spot like that is say, hey, man, you can't throw those like that. If you're going to throw like that, forget it. We'll go with the fastball. And the pitcher's got to talk you out of it.
Niedenfuer and Royce down in the pen. 1-2 the count. Line drive, base hit. That will not only get Porter home, it'll get Landrum home, and it gets the Cardinals back in the game. And I'll be honest, that's sure figured, because Hershiser is not pitching like anybody who's going to be around here very long.
That was a curveball, but again, it did not bite. It just didn't roll and bite into the. Watch it now. It's just kind of a flat curve. He stays right with it, and boom, right back up the middle.
And he's gone. Here comes Lasorda. I'm surprised the way he was pitching to Willie McGee. They must have been praying for a miracle, because he was anything but convincing. So Orel Hershiser, who was the only pitcher in the league championship series to come up with a complete game, will go out leading 4-3, but with a rabbit, the tying run at first base.
And I want to make this point now. George Case, a great base stealer in the American League, always said the best time to run is the first pitch after a relief pitcher comes in, because everybody's worried about getting everything going again. That's when he would take off.
Well, now you have Niedenfuer and Jerry Royce, and they're going to go to Niedenfuer. Boy, that's tough. You throw the big home run the other day, and you're right back in the fire. Can it really be the day before yesterday? It seems like it just happened. And would you believe that it is Ozzie Smith coming up to face Tom Niedenfuer? So the last pitch that Niedenfuer made gave the Cardinals that dramatic victory. Now he comes in with Willie McGee at first, the tying run, and Ozzie Smith to be the batter.
Mentioning McGee, he had his foot on the bag and he still got his foot on the bag, just watching Niedenfuer. Now there he's standing right there, just studying Niedenfuer, even though he's just warming up. He's already made the mark. You can see it out there. He drew the line. Just barely see it there. Right there. We're going into it. That's the line Willie McGee drew. That's as far as he thinks he can get. Now Mike Scioscia's got to do a little bit of soul searching here. He's looking for some help from the bench. Do they see something, maybe?
The home run that Ozzie Smith hit against Niedenfuer the other day was only the 7th home run that Niedenfuer had allowed this year, but he's allowed 5 since the 7th of September. And it gives you an idea that Lasorda has indeed lost considerable confidence in his bullpen, that he allowed Hershiser, who was definitely laboring, to go as far as he did. Check swing, fouled away. 1-1.
The count that McGee ran on last time was 2 balls and 1 strike. It's 1-1 right now. But that doesn't mean that much, believe me. These guys run at any time. They'd run on New Year's Eve.
McGee not going, and the ball is hit to right field and down in the corner. It is going to be a 1-bouncer, and it's live. McGee is being waved around third. The overthrow will allow Ozzie to go to third. As Marshall's throw went over Sachs's head, that gave Ozzie Smith the extra base. And now you know why Lasorda was reluctant to go to the bullpen. it is 4-4 on a triple by Ozzie Smith.
And again, he pulls it down the right field line. They were punching him up the middle, and Niedenfuhr, who throws way better than an average fastball, the last two times that Smith has faced him, he's pulled him. Marshall's relay, as you pointed out, then missed the relay man, and now they've got a chance to pick up another run because the infield has to play in, and a tough hitter up there, Tommy Herr.
And Lasorda's words come back now to echo and re-echo and haunt him. If they can beat Valenzuela and Hershiser, then we are not as good as we thought we were. Well, they were able to win the game that Valenzuela pitched, and they are able to come from 4-1 down to tie the Dodgers against Hershiser. So they'll walk Herr and get Jack Clark. We had mentioned it yesterday. There is no comparison between the two bullpens. The Cardinal bullpen, to give you an idea, Lottie, Daly, and Worrell retired 33 of the 40 batters they faced. The Dodger batting average against the Cardinal bullpen is 175. And the Cardinal bullpen allowed only 1 walk. The Dodger bullpen, very shaky. And now Howell and Royce are in the pen, and here is Jack Clark, and the Cardinals have a chance to get out in front and win it. 4-1. Ozzie Smith standing at third, representing the go-ahead run. Tommy Herr is at first. 1 out, and a fly ball hitter at the plate. Breaking ball missed. And Checkney had got the corner. 1-1. And Clark backs out.
You were like Jack Clark. You didn't believe it either.
1 ball and 1 strike to count. Fouled away. 1-2. When the Dodgers come up in the bottom of the 7th, they have Mariano Duncan, Ken Landreau, and Pedro Guerrero. Breaking ball missed.
Well, we talk about pressure on the ball players. What about these umpires? I mean, they have to umpire that ball at an awful lot of stake right here. And look at that pitch.
Got it. Fastball.
Against strength, he just reared back into his best fastball, got it up, got it fine, and that's a big strikeout for the Dodgers.
Lasorda not off the hook yet, and he knows it. As Andy Van Slyke comes up, Whitey Herzog wondering what else he can do. He had his big man at the plate and came up empty, but he is even.
Sochi wants to set up the defense in case Herr takes off at first base. He's called in both Duncan and Sachs. He's got his instructions from the bench as to what he's going to do.
Since Ozzie Smith is the potential winning run, I would have a tendency to feel they would not throw through, and that Sochi would just take the ball, even if it meant walking Van Slyke to pitch to Pendleton. They might give her second base. It would be awfully dangerous on a delayed double steal. The only infielder to handle the ball would be Duncan, and he's deep. A left-hand hitter at the plate.
And he'd have to go through the full-arm bluff, hoping that maybe Ozzie Smith would break and he could pick him off there.
Yeah, I'd bet they would go to third immediately. There'd be no throw if Herr takes to second. We'll see. Ball 1. Van Slyke grounded out twice, flied to left, 0 for 3. But, of course, all those at-bats were against Orel Hershiser. 4-4, 7th inning as the Cardinals have come back. Down 4-1, they've caught the Dodgers. Fouled away. 1-1. Fastball, foul back. 1-2.
2 runs.
The following message is furnished by Major League Baseball.
1985 has been a great year for me and a record-breaking year for the family of baseball. Like any family, we've had our share of problems, and we're working hard to solve them. But we've had some great performances, too. Just take that young man in St. Louis, and that kid on the mound in New York, and that youngster like myself in Houston. From all of us in the family of baseball to all you families who cheered for us, thank you for sharing a great season.
Major League Baseball, a family tradition. Share it all.
We're going to the bottom of the 7th inning in a 4-4 tie. Andujar went 6 innings, allowed 4 runs, 2 of them earned, 6 hits, 3 strikeouts, 2 walks. And Todd Worrell, who has been absolutely brilliant, come right back in. Look at those numbers. That was his regular season, and he's been better than that. He's been in 3 games in the League Championship Series. He's worked 4 1/3 innings, and he has not allowed an earned run. He has allowed just 2 hits, no walks. He's the young man from nearby Arcadia who went to Biola College. Well, we've told you before, he came up from Louisville on the 26th of August, and since then, 3 wins, 5 saves, 5 for 5 in opportunities. In the regular season, he struck out 17 hitters in 17 appearances. Tonight, Game 7, 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. They'll decide the American League Championships with the Royals and the Blue Jays.
Steve against Saberhagen. That should be a dandy.
This isn't exactly a walk in the park either. 4-4, bottom of the 7th inning. Duncan, Landro, and Guerrero. Ground ball inside first, and there's nobody there. Overshifted was Van Slyke, and Duncan is going to be waved to third. He is going to be in there.
Van Slyke is arguing with the umpire in right field. I don't know if he's claiming interference from a fan or if Runge was in the way. I think it was an interference with the fan he was claiming, but Runge says no. Watch what happens here. He pulls it between Clark and the bag, and Van Slyke has a little bit of trouble. He plays the carom. Now watch what happens here. He kind of hesitates right there, and that's where he loses the play, and Mariano picks up the extra base.
There was no fan interference. No problem whatsoever. It was the complete surprise. Just as the Dodgers couldn't believe Ozzie Smith would pull down in the corner for 3, the Cardinals couldn't believe Duncan would pull a 94-mile-an-hour fastball, but he did.
Runge was right there, and I saw him motion by his hands, no interference.
The infield is up, and it's fouled away by Landro. 4-4, bottom of the 7th. The tiebreaker 90 feet away, and Landro, Guerrero, and Madlock trying to get him home. And it's a little pop fly. Kerr going out and makes the clutch catch, as he does all year long.
He had some problems with the sun, and he turned his back to the infield, made it doubly difficult, but he hung right with it, and look at this. He finds the ball right here and makes an over-the-shoulder catch, and now Whitey Herzog wants to come out and talk to his pitcher. That Herr is something.
He is something indeed. Tommy Herr has saved the bacon for Todd Worrell, at least for the moment. Now the batter is Guerrero, followed by Madlock. Guerrero had popped up twice until he hit the fly ball in the 5th inning to drive in a run. All 3 of those at-bats were against Joaquin Andujar. And if you were not with us back in the 3rd inning, Guerrero, going after Andujar's drive, re-injured his left wrist when he ran into the wall right by the little bullpen window. They are going to walk
him intentionally, it will mean 5 intentional walks given to Guerrero in the series. So Madlock will be coming up with runners at first and third and 1 out in a 4-4 tie in the 7th inning. The infield goes back to double play depth. Of course, at the corners, Pendleton is near the bag, and Clark is holding on Guerrero. Ball 1, breaking ball. Madlock hit the first pitch for a single in the first inning. And they're all on their feet at Dodger Stadium. Ground ball down to Ozzie. He'll go to her, and the throw to first is in time. And they got out of the jam. Bill Madlock, 6-4, 3 double play. And the blue turns even bluer at the end of 7, 4-4.
It wasn't a crisp double play, and you kind of wondered why it took Ozzie so long, but watch where that ball hits, right on the edge, and it's a big hop, and he really has to wait for it. And Guerrero coming down doesn't get close to Tommy Herr, and he puts extra on it, and they get him.
That, to me, was the difference. The only way they could have broken up the double play. Guerrero cannot possibly go straight into the bag. He has to go after the second baseman, and he failed to. And by going into the bag, there was no chance of preventing the double play. Now watch Duncan's reaction. But if Guerrero had chased her, I think they could have broken up the double play because of that big high bounced Ozzie.
But he had a little bit of time there, Herr did, and he really got out of the way. He was about 5 steps. Pedro really would have had to go after him. That was the intent, and if he gets him, he might slow him down.
Big moment, 8th inning now, 4-4, and Terry Pendleton at the plate. Ball 1.
Just as a footnote, you got to give Whitey some credit. He took the monkey and put it right on his back and said, hey, walk Guerrero and set up the double play, and it's going to get lost in the box score, but it was a gutsy move.
Slow ground ball. Sacks to Brock. You know, Pendleton slides. Every scout I have ever talked to, and every baseball man I have ever talked to says, you waste it when you slide to first. If you continue to run, you have a better chance of making the play than sliding.
I would agree with that, except that when you're running, you think it helps you. You try everything, and the adrenaline is pumping, and you want to get there so badly. So it's half smarts and half emotion, and that's what causes you to do that.
Well, here's Darrell Porter, single twice. It was his single in the 7th. That was the beginning of the end of Hershiser and a 4-1 lead. He pops it foul and out of play. 0-1. Ground ball hard to Brock. And he'll underhand to Niedenfuhr. 2 down. Tito Landrum will be coming up, followed by Todd Worrell. Landrum grounded to short, and then in the 7th inning, he too singled against Hershiser and came around to score. Popped in the air, and it'll be Sachs looking at Landro, and it's Landro's ball. All right. At the end of 7 1/2, Niedenfuhr has settled to retire 5, and the score is tied at 4. Game 6 of the 1985 National League Championship Series is brought to you by Ralston Purina Company, makers of Purina Pet Foods and other fine products from Checkerboard Square. By Kemper and the independent insurance agents who represent us. For all of your insurance needs, ride with Kemper. By light beer from Miller, everything you always wanted in a beer and less. And by Wheaties, crispy, crunchy, tasty wheat. Wheaties, what the big boys eat. 55,208 have filled Dodger Stadium, and they're looking at a gem, a 4-4 tie in the bottom of the 8th. High fly ball into right center. Van Slyke and McGee, and it's going to be over the wall. I can't believe that ball carried out. Both Van Slyke and McGee went back as if they had a play all the way. And it is 5-4 Dodgers in the 8th. Ball one.
That's the kind of raw power he's got. You've seen it. I've seen it. The ball just kept carrying and carrying, and he just ran out of room.
1 ball and no strikes to Mike Scioscia. Ball 2. So it is 5-4 Dodgers, and the Moose, as they call him, will give the Buffalo, as they call Niedenfuhr, something to lean on. And Herzog is leaning on the railing. By the way, when the Cardinals come up in the 9th inning, they will have a hitter for Worrell, then Willie McGee, and would you believe Ozzie Smith? Right. 2-1. Fastball. That's hit to right. Van Slyke, good coverage, gets over there, fighting the sun. Boy, was that a tough play. In fact, everything hit in the air is a tough play.
Every ball in the air is an adventure. It's a high sky. We point that out. Bright sun shining, and watch Van Slyke battle it. He's got the glasses down, glove is up, and he's not sure of it at all. He's going to try to play it sideways, and oh, it hit the glove, and he just clamps it.
It's like groping for a shoe at the bottom of a dark closet. You just kind of hope that it's there, and that's about where it was. There. Ball 1 to Brock. Walk, fly to center, pop the second, 0 for 2. 5-4 Dodgers, bottom of the 8th in Game 6. Away, ball 2. Out away. Good hard fastball down and in. Tough pitch for Brock to handle. If there is a 7th game tomorrow night, Bob Welch would figure to start for the Dodgers and John Tudor for St. Louis. Ball 3. On deck, Steve Sachs, who has been a very anxious and impatient hitter in his other 3 at-bats. 3-1. He's swinging if he likes it. Ball 4. So Whitey Herzog, you've seen his big right-hander give up a triple with nobody out and get away with it, and then the towering fly ball home run. The only 2 hits, and now here's Sachs. Flied to right in the 2nd inning. Swung at a 3-2 pitch that would have been ball 4 and grounded out in the 4th. Went after a pitch above his shoulders and flied out in the 6th. But the town is all Marshalltown right now as he and Kenny Landreau talk about it. Sachs 0 for 3, hitting .316 in the series. Good breaking ball. 1-1. Punched on the ground, foul. Foul ball. Don't worry about it, Jack. 0-2 the count. Fastball. So after all the breaking balls, he gives him the express to blow him down. And Tom Tom Niedenfuer coming up. You know, the temperature has a great deal to do with the flight of the ball, and it certainly will carry on a hot afternoon with a light breeze blowing out. They tell me in the old days, the old days, the home teams used to take the baseballs and put them in the ice box and then bring them out ice cold because the home run hitting opposition couldn't hit them out.
It'd be like hitting rocks.
Yeah. Here's Niedenfuer. If you look at the Cardinal bench, Orel is due up, of course. To face Niedenfuer, who would you use? Cedeno, DeJesus, Harper, Jorgensen, Lawless, or Nieto? I guess you'd have to guess Jorgensen. 1-1. 1-2. So Mike Marshall, for the moment, enjoying the glory. But it is such a transitory thing in this game. It's what have you done for me lately?
Last time at bat.
1-2. That'll do it for Tom Niedenfuer. But Marshall will get an ovation as he trots to right field. And as we go to the 9th inning, hard hats and safety belts.
So now we go to the top of the second. Mets leading 2-0. Cardinals went out in order in the first inning. A good catch helped the situation. Mookie Wilson in center field hauling down a drive by Tommy Herr. And now it's Jack Clark, the newcomer. Fastball hit to deep left field. It is gone. Goodbye. So Carter, in his initial at bat as a St. Louis Cardinal, has done what the Cardinals want. He has homered to put the Cardinals on the board.
We've come to the 9th inning. The Dodgers, trying to stay alive, are leading because of this man. Mike Marshall's towering home run, clearing the right center field barrier. Describe a tremendous effort by Andy Van Slyke to climb the ladder and get it. 5 runs, 8 hits for the Dodgers, 4 runs, 10 hits for the Cardinals. Dave Anderson will now take over at third base for the Dodgers. And Cesar Cedeno will be the first man to come up and hit. Cedeno, McGee, and Smith would take one more look at the home run and at the great effort by Van Slyke, who thought he had it until he ran out of room.
Look how high he gets, over the fence.
Cesar Cedeno.
Cedeno will take a pitch to try to set you up. I asked him about taking that 2-0 pitch all the way in St. Louis, and he said, well, I wanted to see where he was going to spot that because I figured he would come back if he throws it for a strike. Well, he's a thinking man's hitter up there.
So Cedeno starting it off, batting for Todd Worrell. 55,208. Sitting in on Game 6. Niedenfuer, who was killed by Ozzie Smith's home run and almost wrecked in the 7th inning by Ozzie's triple, now trying to salvage out of the wreckage here in the 9th. Ball 1. He's backed up in the Dodger bullpen, Ken Howell and Jerry Royce. Royce has rarely relieved, and Howell has been ineffective. 2-0. Cedeno with 2 hits in the series, one of them a double. But he had big numbers for the year. He had 291. 2-1. Right field.
That was a absolute perfect pitch. Outside corner, low fastball in the 90s.
2-2. Fouled away.
It was a 93-mile-an-hour fastball he hit the corner with.
I swear to you, and I know Herzog watches, and I know Lasorda counts those clock guns, but I'm really starting to doubt him. Mariano Duncan pulls a 94-mile-an-hour fastball into the right field corner.
It tells you how fast, but it doesn't tell you if the ball is moving. And if the ball's not moving, the hitter's going to be moving around the bases.
Doesn't mean much. 2-2. On the hands. Got him. Boy, was that a great location.
Perfect. High and tight, low and away. Low and away for the second strike. Watch this one. Even if he hits it, he's not going to go anywhere with it. In on the hands. Look at it. Ball was right at the handles.
That's the fastest he has thrown a 95-mile-an-hour fastball tonight. Right here on NBC. The thrills continue at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The final game of the American League Championship Series. The Royals and the Blue Jays. Here's McGee. 4-1. That's 3 strikeouts for Tom Niedenfuer. Lasorda can't bear to watch. He has gone behind Bill Schumard, standing there, and he is up in the runway. He can't stand to watch it. 1-1. And don't forget who's waiting on deck.
Strikes, he can really let it out as Amalfitano sets that defense. They're shading McGee towards left field.
1-2 to Willie. And it's lined to left field. Base hit. So the tying run is aboard, and it's a guy who can motor. And here comes Ozzie.
Ozzie Smith.
That for McGee is his 3rd hit in the game. Ozzie has singled and tripled. McGee, standing at first, was thrown out trying to steal in the 5th. Ozzie homered to beat Niedenfuer and then tripled in the 7th inning today. And now let's watch this battle. Off the rubber. Good breaking ball. Ozzie quit on it thinking it was going to be high and outside, and it dipped in. Niedenfuer does throw a split-fingered fastball. There goes McGee. Scioscia's throwing a bounce. He's stolen it.
Mike kept looking to the bench, see if they could give him some help. Here comes Peranowski out to talk to Niedenfuer now, and Mike rushed that throw. That's the only way you can explain it. McGee, a good jump, running straight up, but with that great speed, he can erase some of the deficiencies maybe in his techniques, and makes it easily. Say, there's no substitute for speed. Maybe you should run down, maybe you should be in line, it would help you, but he can really run. Scioscia just rushed that throw, and it's McGee's speed that made him do that.
The Dodgers had gotten McGee 3 out of 4 times. But take another look at that hurried throw, which was on a bounce.
Certainly was a good ball to handle, almost like a pitch out, and he just stood right into the ground. Sometimes the ball skips off that grass and really helps, but not this time.
It might have helped on AstroTurf, but not here. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Tying run at second. Ozzie Smith 2 for 4 at the plate. Fouled away. 1-2.
Not that McGee's going to try anything, but I keep saying it. I've said it, I guess, 100 times. You can't take it for granted. Now, Sachs is way over. The only man he has to worry about is Duncan. Now, look where Sachs is playing, so he can get himself a pretty good lead. If Niedenfuer goes to sleep at all, he's going to find McGee perched at 3rd.
McGee has stolen 3rd 4 out of 6 times in the regular season. Anderson right near the bag at 3rd, and Duncan trying to bird dog McGee. 1-2 to Ozzie Smith. 2-2. On deck, Mr. Clutch, Tommy Herr, and doesn't Tommy Lasorda know it? He couldn't stand it in the runway, so he's back in there. Herzog has been draped over the railing since the start of the game. It's amazing the way the Dodgers are playing. You would figure they would play Ozzie a slap hitter, not to pull, but they have got themselves overly committed to the right side since Smith has burned Niedenfuhr 2 at-bats. That was the split finger job, and he missed with it 3-2.
Oddly enough, in the outfield, they're kind of shading him a little bit towards left center field. Guerrero not too deep in left. Look at the room in right center field. As we move over towards left field, you see Landreau on the left field side of second base.
Well, he pitched him into the home run. He pitched him into the triple. What does he do? 3-2. Away. Ball 4. And now Lasorda is really in the deep water. Boy, you talk about that whale that's stranded in the river up near Sacramento with nowhere to go. Lasorda is thinking now about the running game of McGee and Smith. He is really thinking about the possibility of some wheels with Tommy Herr, the batter. Smith at first, McGee at second, 1 out in the 9th. 5-4 Dodgers. Herr hit into a force play, singled in a run, walked twice, and as usual, made a clutch catch in the 7th inning. Right. 5-4 Dodgers, 1 out in the 9th. Breaking ball hit foul. Foul ball. Doesn't count. No. The crowd wasn't looking at the umpire. It was called immediately by John McSherry.
And Anderson guarding the line like Herr was a right-hand pull hitter. He was right there. John McSherry called it right now.
Boy, you talk about people seeing things with their heart instead of their eyes. That was a classic case of it.
He just went the other way, and Anderson is right there. Look at his right foot in foul territory.
No balls and 2 strikes to Tommy Herr. Ground ball hit slowly. It'll be Brock feeding Niedenfuhr. And how do you like this situation? The tying and possible winning runs are in scoring position with 2 out and Jack Clark coming up. The only play.
Niedenfuhr gets there in plenty of time. Brock is going to make sure.
So Herzog and his partner, Red Schoendienst, meanwhile, in reading Lasorda talking about walk him and pitch to that blank Van Slyke. That's what he just muttered in the dugout. I think it was a rhetorical question. Do I walk him and pitch to that so-and-so? He's not going to walk him. It is Jack Clark and Tom Niedenfuhr going head-to-head, and the ball game on the line, and the crowd on its feet. One way or another, what a way to end. And now Scioscia's going out to the mound.
Well, they want to make sure of the signs. They got Ozzie Smith at second base, and obviously he was switching signs. Niedenfuhr looked like he was going to pitch off the stretch. He was worried about McGee, and then he had a little bit of doubt in his mind as to what the signs were, and Scioscia's going to make them as simple as he possibly can because he's got enough to worry about with the 2 base runners and the batter without worrying about whether he gets the signs right. So make them simple.
Just so that we can cover the situation for you, Ozzie Smith at second, but Willie McGee at third has never tried to steal home this year. I'm not saying it's even crossed anybody's mind, but it might have crossed yours. Here's Clark, 1 for 4. Jack hit into a force play, hit a fly ball single to left, flied to right on the first pitch, and struck out. Hits one to deep left field, and that one is gone. so-and-so. Well, he didn't walk him.
Look where all the players are. They want to make sure he touches home plate. Now they'll pick him up. They all backed off. That was a rule they made after Ozzie Smith at the home run. There was some indecision as to whether he touched home plate, so Daniel made sure.
Look at who was out there at home plate. Vince Coleman.
Oh.
Number 29.
Everybody's going to be out there.
You would think that the face would be a little kinder to one man in such a short amount of time.
That's as slow a trip as Jack Clark ever made. I mean, he takes a lot of time.
There's McGee.
Look at Socia just kneeling in disbelief. Now watch the players. Here they come out, but they made it up. They're not going to block home plate. They're all going to stop short.
Life goes on for Niedenfuhr, pitching to that blankety blank, as Lasorda called him, Andy Van Slyke. Well, now, in the bottom of the ninth, the Dodgers will have Mariano Duncan, Ken Landreau, and Pedro Guerrero. With first base open, they pitch to Jack Clark, and they might live with that thought all winter long. Up around the plate, and it'll be Socia or Anderson. Socia. However, the St. Louis Cardinals with a big 3 in the ninth inning, and at the end of 8 1/2, it is 7-5 St. Louis.
First base open. And they will walk Gibson, I believe, with Harris coming up. It figures they'll take the bat right out of Gibson's hand. And now Dick Williams is going to go out there because Kennedy held up 4 fingers and then went out to the mound. So let's see.
I've had good success.
You want the infield in on him?
No. No. Halfway? Yeah.
Where you going? I mean, I've got to cut out. I got to cut the. You mean you're talking about striking him out?
Yeah.
He don't want to walk you. Yeah, he don't want to walk you.
And there it goes.
Meanwhile, in reading Lasorda talking about walk him and pitch to that blank Van Slyke, that's what he just muttered in the dugout. I think it was a rhetorical question. Do I walk him and pitch to that so-and-so? He's not going to walk him. It is Jack Clark and Tom Niedenfuhr going head-to-head, and the ball game on the line, and the crowd on its feet. And he hits one to deep left field, and that one is gone. And Lasorda got the answer to his rhetorical question. Something about, should I walk this guy and pitch to that so-and-so? Well, he didn't walk him. To add to that footnote, Jack Clark had 1 RBI in the league championship series until he hit that dramatic 9th inning 3-run home run to turn what looked like a 5-4 Dodger victory into a 7-5 Cardinal lead.
That welcoming committee was there. I mean, everybody.
I'll tell you how shocking it was to the Dodgers. This year, the Dodgers were 85-1 when leading after 8 innings in a game. That one loss was way back in April to Houston. So if they look like they're in a state of shock, they are.
Looks like a painting.
Niedenfuhr has left the dugout. He went back into the clubhouse. Mariano Duncan, Enos Cabell, and Pedro Guerrero will go against left-hander Ken Daly. Daly pitched 2 2/3 innings the day before yesterday. He also pitched in the Danny Cox game, and he pitched in Andujar's first game, and he pitched in Tudor's game. Right. So Ken Daly is in his 5th game. He has saved 1, and his earned run average is 0. And the bullpen difference, it looked like this time it was going to go to the Dodgers when Marshall hit the home run. But it has reverted again. Fouled away. 4-1. But the thing I'll remember more as you look at Marshall, we were talking about what a transitory thing it was. He hit the home run to give the Dodgers the 5-4 lead. He hardly had a minute to enjoy it. 1-2. Strike 3 call. All the weight, however, has to rest within the heart and on the shoulders of Tommy Lasorda. And I could read part of his lips as he walked by. Am I going to walk him, meaning Clark, and pitch to that so-and-so?
23.
Van Slyke. And he opted to pitch to Clark with first base open to Bloom.
He had to make the choice when it had to be made.
And it was a move, right-hand pitcher, right-hand batter. 1 out. Cabell up there batting for Kenny Landreau.
It's been said many times that good pitching staff will make a good manager. A good bullpen will make a great manager. It's proved out here.
The thing that has, and of course it's gone way back, but it has changed a lot of things around here, was Steve Howe and what happened to him.
Got to have that guy to come in out of the pen. Whitey has really done it. When they lost Bruce Sutter, they thought that was it.
The Dodgers blew a 4-1 lead with a 19-game winner. As you look at Fernando, they came into this game as Mike Scioscia is riveted to his seat, knowing that every game had been decided by a win for the home team for the last 13 straight. They knew Hershiser had won 12 straight. And as if they didn't know him, they know Jack Clark one day better. Strike 3. And in Los Angeles, we are 1 out away from football. Pedro Guerrero, the batter. Interesting, the Dodgers won the first 2 games of the series. 6 times teams have come back losing the first 2 games of a World Series. 3 of the 6 times involved the Dodgers. And it looks like it's going to be 4 out of 7. Popped up. We are this close to it. And St. Louis is going to the series. And they deserve it. They stopped Valenzuela. They spotted Hershiser, a 4-1 lead. They knocked him out. And they came back down 5-4 in the 9th inning against Tom Niedenfuhr. And that's enough tribute to the Cardinals. They did what they had to do and beat the Dodgers 7-5. A worthy champion of the National League and a worthy representative to go into the World Series. And the Dodgers come up a buck short. Jack Clark being mobbed, Greg Brock staring off into eternity, and we'll be back right after this.
Well, it's good to come back to our ballpark. I just wish we could have been 3-2 rather than 2-3.
After being down 2-0 coming home and now being up 3-2, I feel pretty good.
That feeling would be short-lived, however, as the Dodgers would come out swinging.
Base hit to center field. Dodgers lead.
Joaquin Andujar struggled for the Cards, and the Dodgers led 4-1. But St. Louis rallied against Orel Hershiser in the 7th, and Lasorda called his top reliever Tom Niedenfuhr into a situation that had striking similarities to the one that ended Game 5.
All right, here's Ozzie. Deja vu. The 1-1 pitch. Driven to right field and deep. Marshall going back, and would you believe it? Ozzie has went off the base of the wall. Here's McGee. The game is tied, and Smith's at third.
Smith had delivered again. But with rookie reliever Todd Worrell pitching in the bottom of the 8th, the Dodgers' Mike Marshall struck back.
High fly ball in the right center field. He didn't get quite enough of it, I don't think. Van Slyke to the wall. It is a home run! Oh, did the ball carry?
Niedenfuhr was still on the mound with the Dodgers ahead by 1 in the 9th. With McGee on 3rd, Ozzie on 2nd, and first base open, the Dodgers would opt to pitch to Jack Clark.
Jack Clark had struck out maybe 2 innings prior to that. Niedenfuhr had threw 3 fastballs by him.
2-2 pitch to Clark. Swung on a miss. He struck him out.
He came into the dugout and he said, "Please, guys, whatever you do, give me another opportunity at this guy. I will take him deep." At that time, we called it a big fly. He says, "I will hit a big fly off of him."
Niedenfuhr ready. The pitch. A drive to left field, and Jack Clark has hit a 3-run homer.
You know, to see him hit the ball and take those steps toward our dugout, not toward first base, but toward our dugout, and to tell us that here's the big fly that I told you guys I was going to hit, and this is something I'll never forget.
Today's NBC Light Beer from Miller player of the game is the Cardinals' Jack Clark. Light Beer from Miller, happy to present a check for $1,000 in the name of Jack Clark to help fight multiple sclerosis. Jack being doused by the champagne, coming up with a 3-run home run when the Dodgers opted to pitch to him with first base open. And of course, that will haunt Lasorda. He didn't have a left-hander to come in to pitch to Van Slyke, and he didn't have a right-hander then to really come in and counter another Herzog move.
It's pretty obvious. The managers always have the reasons, but the second guess is going to get him. Everybody's going to say, why didn't he walk him? You know that Clark can hit it. He's been able to handle Van Slyke. He only had one guess. He made it and got burned, but you got your best relief pitcher out there, and you have to give credit to Clark, who had to come back because he was up in the clutch situation earlier and didn't do anything. This time he did, and the Cardinals, who battled back all year, are going to be in the World Series, and there you see it. That pretty much says it all. When you
That's Mike Marshall, who for one brief shining moment turned this place into Camelot when he hit the home run in the bottom of the 8th. But fame and fortune, such a transitory thing. 1 minute Marshall was the hero, and the next minute he's lost in the shuffle. But when you look at it, the Cardinals are the better team and deserve to go. They were down 2 games to none. They got their act together and won 4 in a row.
And they beat the best.
And they beat the best the Dodgers had. What a year for the Cardinals. And the magic began when they got home to St. Louis.
Join us, come and waste an hour or two. We've got magic to do, just for you. We've got miracle grace to play. We've got hearts to perform, hearts to warm, kings and things to take by storm as we go along our way.
We got down early. We got their best pitcher going. He hadn't been beat all year here, 12-0, and we came back, and Ozzie Smith got an awful big hit.
When you consider those things with Hershiser, when you were down 4-1, were you thinking 7th game?
Not really, because we've been hitting the ball pretty good off of him. Even in the ball game, he beat us 8-2 the other night. We hit the ball fairly hard, but we didn't stay close enough to do anything. Today, I got to give him a lot of credit. I don't think he had his good stuff, and he kept battling, and he bent a little bit, but he really didn't break. But Ozzie Smith again got the big hit off of Niedenfuhr to tie the ball game, and of course then he struck out Jack with a man on 3rd and 1 out, and Jack got back at him. In the 9th inning, he had a pitch to him, and Jack nailed one.
It looked like Lasorda was thinking about it. Did you think they were going to walk Clark?
Well, you know, a manager only he's got to make a guess, and I think he wanted to go strength against strength, and it's just one of those things that happen, but I don't think you can second guess.
We got to go. Thank you very much, Wade. Let's send you back upstairs.
Okay, remember tonight, Game 7 of the American League Championship featuring Dave, Steve, and Brett Saberhagen. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on NBC. For Joe Garagiola, this is Vin Scully. So long, and thanks for the ride.
Tommy, why, in 1985, did you let Niedenfuhr pitch to Jack Clark?
Swinging a long one into left field. Adios, goodbye, and maybe that's the winner.
Okay, let me explain it to you. Who was on deck?
Andy Van Slyke.
That's the boy. Was he a left-hand or right-hand hitter?
Left-handed hitter.
Okay. The time before that, I walked the second baseman to pitch to Clark, who struck him out. Niedenfuhr struck him out on 3 pitches.
True.
So you second guess, you can do it all the time. A second guesser is somebody who don't know anything about the first guess, and a second guesser is somebody who needs 2 guesses to get one right. You got it right.